Hello, my name is Ashton. I am here at Spy Coast Farm here in Lexington, Kentucky, better known as the horse capital of the world. This is going to be a shorter video, kind of an introduction to a course that I am putting together, yoga for equestrians or anyone that's in the horse industry for the year of the horse. So I thought that would just be kind of perfect for the year that we're in right now. Alrighty, we're gonna actually get started on our backs. So go ahead and melt the back of your heart down into your mat. Kissing those shoulder blades a little bit closer together. Bent knees, feet grounded. Everything begins with your breath. So let's first check in with the quality of our breath here today. You can place your hands around your ribs, or perhaps left hand on your heart, right on your stomach. Inhaling in through the nose, perhaps sipping in a little bit more air, and then releasing, letting it go. Do that a few more times at your rhythmic pattern. And release. Great job. Let's extend those arms out to a T. Hug the knees in towards the chest. Let's plant those hands down towards the ground there. With your next exhalation, drop those knees to the left side. Getting a nice twist in your back. Arms can stay where they are, or you can plant your left hand on the outside of your right thigh, and maybe you turn your right hand up towards the ceiling and bend that right elbow a little bit, pulling that right shoulder blade down to the mat. Let's bring those arms back to a T. Draw the knees into the chest. And then release those knees down to the right. And do the same thing on this side. Great. Now bring those arms back to a T. Bring those knees back into center. Bring those hands to your kneecaps and draw those knees in towards your chest. Lift your head and shoulders, giving yourself a nice tug. Feeling a little bit of that curl and compression here at your lower core. Great. And then we'll plant those feet down, arms relax, and draw some of those rainbows side to side. Great. Let's bring those knees in line with the hips, in line with the ankles. Plant those hands by your outer hips. And walk those feet a little bit closer towards your glutes if you can. Kiss those shoulder blades a little closer together and press up for your first bridge pose. Thinking about pressing your hips upwards towards an imaginary saddle and feeling that subtle engagement of your inner thighs to fire up your pelvic floor. And then with control, release. Hug those knees into the chest. And then plant those feet back down. Pressing back up into bridge. This time, if you'd like to spice it up a little bit, root down through your right leg, your right hoof, and then kick your left leg up towards the ceiling. Holding there. And release. Let's tap the hips down. And then we'll press back up, lift and thrust those hips, root down through your left hoof, and then extend that right leg up towards the ceiling. Great job, release. Hug those knees into the chest, crisscross your shins or around your ankles, and then bring your non-dominant foot on top. We're going to lubricate the spine by finding a nice rock and roll here. Hopefully this feels nice. And then we'll come all the way up to a seat. Let's warm up our hands, extending your arms forward. Let's flick away the worries. It's kind of cold here in Kentucky, so my fingers are feeling super stiff. We've had a long winter. Hopefully that's not the same for you, wherever you're practicing. Really try to keep your core activated here. Finding the stack of your head over your shoulders, over your hips. Great. Now let's create fists. Draw some circles clockwise. And then counterclockwise. Wonderful. We're going to plant those hands down, roll over your shins. If that's not accessible, you can always stack and roll over to the side. Alrighty. Come to your tabletop position and then wag your tail right to left, glancing over opposite shoulder. And find a little tuck of your tailbone under, so that way you can keep your core activated here. Great, back to center. Keeping the crown of the head in line with your center line of gravity. We're gonna take a few cow cats. So we'll moo like we're at the barn that I am now. Inhale, look up. And then exhale, tuck that tailbone under, push into your back muscles, finding that protraction. Inhale to lengthen and look. Exhale to tuck that tailbone under, push into your back, and gaze towards your belly button. We'll do one more. Back to center. Next, what we're going to do is called barrel rolls. And if you're anywhere near Kentucky, or if you are familiar with Kentucky, you know that we also love our bourbon. So I think about this as like rolling through a bourbon barrel. Alrighty. We're going to bend let's go down clockwise first. So bend your right elbow, drop your stomach, create that cow shape. So you're dropping your belly and curling towards your mat, pressing that chest down, and then finding that same protraction in one direction. Oscillating through your torso. This is also great for your shoulder mobility here. After you do one more in this direction, let's switch. And don't worry if your range of motion isn't the same as mine. It just takes practice. Last one. Great. Now let's bring our knees a little bit wider, toes together, and sink those hips back for your child's pose. Pressing your forehead into your mat, lengthening through your arms and pressing into your fingertips. You can tint your hands like you're holding a nice muffin. And release. Let's plant those hands all the way down, and let's get into our largest back muscle. Do you know what that is? I'll give you a moment before I tell you. Little pop quiz. Walk those hands over to the left. Right hand can be on top or underneath of that left palm as you're stretching out your right lat. This is wonderful to add in to your daily practice for anybody, but especially if you've been at the desk all day, if you're working at one of the farms, or if you're out riding your horse before or after. Walk those hands back to center. Take a full round of breath. And then walk those hands over to the right. Left hand can be on top or underneath of that right palm. You decide. Great. Walk those hands back to center. And then we're going to lean into our tabletop position. Hips stacked over knees. We're going to come into a diagonal puppy pose, which is so good for your back. And it's pretty juicy, but I hope that you enjoy it too. Alrighty. We're going to walk those hands forward, dropping the stomach down. But you're going to slide your right hand over towards the left corner of your mat. Right hand is going to give a thumbs up. And then drape your head down in between your biceps. If you can make it extra spicy, you can come to your chin. But it's not required. Great. Back to center. Full round of breath here. And then walk those hands over to the right. Left hand gives a thumbs up towards the ceiling. Woo! Can always feel this one. All right, back to center. Let's take the traditional puppy now. Melting your heart down. My mic might be a little muffled. Sorry if so. And then we're going to swim down to those forearms, expanding the chest, pressing your elbows into your mat. If this is a deep enough back bend, you can slide your elbows a little bit further forward to slide it up your back and not have it be as deep into your lower back where your QLs are. Or if you want to take it a little deeper, you can bend your knees and then windshield wiper side to side. The head bob isn't required. Just here dancing to the sound of my own, a sound of my own movement, honestly. It feels good. Great. Let's drop those feet down. Let's get into our neck a little bit. This is going to be kind of tough for me because I let my kitty cat sleep on my pillow and I have had a pain in my neck here, but we're going to do this together. Drop your chin towards your clavicle. Oy, oy, oy. Breathe. Let's draw that left ear to the left shoulder. Releasing the right side of the neck. And then draw a half moon to the right side of the neck. Great. Back to center. Let's slide those hands back a little bit more for a baby cobra. You can engage the glutes a little bit more to protect the back. Alrighty, let's push up to our comfort level. You're more than welcome to add your upward facing dog and lift up your hips. But you can also leave them down too. Alrighty. Let's tuck those toes under. Let's press back into tabletop position. And then come into downward facing dog. Let's pedal out those feet, especially if it's your first downward dog of the day. That's always going to be a little bit cranky around your hamstrings and your calves. Then we're going to walk our hands back to our feet. And you can soften the knees a little bit more here. You can allow those ribs to rest on your quads. That's totally fine. But without physically lifting your heels, I want you to take some weight out of your heels by walking your hands a little further forward. And if your hands don't touch the ground, that's okay. Add some blocks or books underneath. Alrighty, I want to give you all some time for those of you that might need to grab some props. Alrighty. And if this is max capacity, or if this is max capacity, that's where you stay as you're lengthening the backs of the legs. Totally fine. Alrighty. If you want to take it a little bit deeper, we're going to bend the knees, and then we're going to interlace opposite elbows, dropping the head in between our biceps, and shifting some weight a little bit forward and back. So we're finding that stack of the hip bone over the ankles. Then we're going to flip the grip, and then we're going to rock a little bit, side to side. Drop those hands in front of the feet. Walk those hands forward. Alrighty. You can bring those feet closer together or keep them hip width distance. Personal preference, whatever you want. Alrighty. Let's lift up those heels and start to tiptoe the feet towards the hands. As you're pressing into your back muscles, try to find that pike plank kind of sensation here. Maybe even lifting up your heels as you squeeze everything together. I know that's hard, so just find what works for you. All right? Let's drop those heels down, bend the knees, and then reach those arms up above. And then release those hands down by the side. Find your center. Appreciate this stillness and silence. You might not get it very often. All righty. Inhale to reach those arms up above. Exhale, forward fold all the way down. Inhale to halfway lift. Your hands might lift on blocks or to shins or maybe even to your hammies. That's okay. Or to your quads. Plant those hands down, step it back. I want this to be super beginner friendly, so I'm not necessarily going to say, oh, Chaturanga Dandasana here, because not everybody knows what that is, and it can be kind of intimidating when you're learning all of those words the first time. Alrighty, so if you do take that, if you're familiar with it, awesome. If not, I want you to just drop those knees, shift a little forward, and then just hug those elbows towards your ribs, maybe just for a couple of inches. And pause whenever you feel like you're about to crash. Easy to do. We're going to shift into that cobra position. Drop the hips down, expand the chest. This should feel familiar. Then roll over those toes into downward facing dog. And I don't usually practice in socks, especially if they don't have grippers on it, but it's a little bit cold up here. So if you can take off your socks, please do. Easier to balance. Alrighty, let's lift that right leg up into the sky for three-legged dog. Just want you to gas pedal and flex that right foot. Sometimes we have really open hips, and that's just the way that we're born. So your three-legged dog might be stacked, and that's awesome if you can do that, but we're wanting to neutralize the hips right now. All right, let's draw that right knee in for your cheetah pose. I'll show the modification, tucking those toes on the mat. All righty, let's step that right foot a little further forward. If you need some assistance, totally fine. And then come up into your crescent. If this is enough for you, stay. If you want to make it a little bit more challenging, I'd like you to lift up your right heel and just check on your knee to make sure it's not buckling into the center. It's easy to do. You can also take a little bend of that left knee if that helps you to pull into your center line a little bit more. Drop that right heel down. Step your left foot forward. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift. Plant those hands, step it back. Same thing. If you're familiar with your vinyasa, take it. Or drop those knees down, push into your back, shift forward, elbows back a couple of inches, maybe even a little bit further. Hello to triceps. And then drop those hips into your cobra. And then come into downward facing dog. Let's extend that left leg up, press into the heel, gas pedal flex. And then draw that left knee in, push into the back muscles. You can tuck those toes under if you'd like. Keep on pressing into your back core. Step that left foot forward, come into your crescent. Nice job. Once again, you can make it a little bit more challenging by elevating your left heel. And maybe you can pull the center line a little bit closer. Paint and plant those hands down. Step your right foot forward. Forward fold. We're going to heel toe our feet a little bit wider so that we can come into our yogi squat. If you've had any knee replacements or if you have trouble with your knees, maybe you don't go to your max capacity, and that's okay. Maybe your squat looks a little bit like this today, and that's fine. You want to feel safe. Alrighty, if you have that mobility to come all the way down, awesome. Your heels might lift too. That just happens. Alrighty, I want you to try to lengthen here. Pressing into the palms. Noticing the texture and the warmth of your hands. And you feel a little push-pull here between the inside of the legs and your triceps. I also like to call this pose squatty potty, but you can also remember it as yogi squat. Alrighty, we're actually going to move through those hip joints a little bit more and drop those sit bones all the way down. Ooh-wee. Alrighty, I'm going to turn to face you all. We're going to come into butterfly. Pressing those feet together. Knees are wide. The closer your heels are to your pelvic floor, the more challenging that is. So if you need a little bit more space here, you can bring your heels further from your pelvis or bring blocks underneath of those outer thighs. All right, let's lengthen here. Pressing those sit bones firmly down into your mat. Pause, hold that stillness. Lift and lengthen, hinge forward at the hips. Perhaps your elbows can press down to the insides of those thighs. And then round, or you can keep looking forward. You decide. Let's tuck that tailbone and peel all the way up. Let's keep that same external rotation of the hips. Then extend those legs out to a wide leg straddle. I like to call these doorknobs. Bring the feet in, bring the feet out. If your legs are at max capacity, I invite you to take it in about 10% because that might just feel more comfortable there. Alrighty, as you're turning your doorknobs in and out. All right, let's bring one knee in. Plant the foot on opposite thigh. Slide that arm down and then reach your opposite arm up overhead to get into that side body stretch. Rainbow your arms up towards the ceiling. Switch sides. Reach those arms up. Extend your legs back to your wide leg straddle. And we'll draw those legs together. Inhale to reach those arm bones higher. Then exhale to paint and plant for your last forward fold. We want to try to bring the pinky edge of our feet towards the shins. Alrighty. And if your forward fold is kind of up here, you can also bend the knees a little bit, and that's totally fine. All right, let's peel off of those legs. Come to a comfortable seated position. Let's inhale to reach those arms up above. Then bring those hands to heart center. I hope that you enjoyed a little snippet of what the course is going to entail. So if you could like or comment on this video and let me know what you'd like to see for this course and if you're interested. That way we can connect. Alrighty. My name is Ashton. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you all next time.